Greetings and salutations, this is Emperor Vespasian and his trusty sidekick.
Hello.
In front of you, you see our first official squad of the Imperial Japanese Army for bolt action. It's an interesting army, the Japanese Army, isn't it?
It's the greatest army in the world.
Yeah,
it's
a lot different from most other armies. Which bit should we go over first?
Bonsai.
Okay, well we'll start with the special rules first then, as little chappie wants to do special rules first. So, first of all, Japanese soldiers are fanatic. All Japanese soldiers are fanatic.
Which is really great, but not great for the enemy.
Meaning they fight on until the very end and basically no morale, so that's quite good. Nextly, they have the bonsai special rule, which means they automatically pass a morale test to charge. Always charge. Always a good idea to charge. Charge all the time. Charge, that's it.
It's always worth for me.
Which is very useful when you're going up against stuff like tanks and stuff, where often infantry will go, yeah, I don't really want to because they're going to -3.
Yeah.
Japanese troops don't care.
Yeah, not fanatics, don't care.
Well, it's not just that, they also carry anti-tank gear anyway.
Well, you just get it for free.
Yeah, all Japanese troops carry anti-tank gear.
Meaning I don't have to actually pay for it?
No, it's not built into the points.
And how much does points cost?
Well, technically, you don't get the tank as a special rule. Only the guys that get tank as a special rule are the paratroopers and the special Navy landing troops. So you can still charge. You're not actually going to be, you're not going to get the benefit of anti-tank grenades, but you are trained to do it anyway. Right. The Japanese training manual says the best way to take tanks out is to stab the gunner through the eye slit. Japanese bayonet was 2 feet long. You don't have 2 feet room inside of the Russian tank.
Yeah.
So you're going to die. So yeah. People who say you can't take a tank out without an anti-tank grenade don't know the first thing about tanks.
Like
also,
yeah.
Also, Japanese troops, 1 in every 4 men would carry a stick of wood, just like the Polish did. And the stick of wood you shoved into the tank tracks, and the wheel would snap off, therefore making the tank immobile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the gunner will still gun you down after you've done that though, so...
Yeah. Oh well, what's the gunner going to be doing while someone's smashing the gun with his rifle? And yeah. Yeah, interesting stuff. Alright, next thing is if your officer carries a sword, a gunto sword, which is a Japanese standard issue samurai sword. All figures get it. Yeah, they come in the plastic box. You can fit them out with them. The gunto basically means you gain the tough fighter special skill, which means you fight with 2 dice instead of 1 in close combat.
That's better.
Yeah, same as the Polish cavalry. They carry swords.
Yeah, I know.
Same
yeah.
special
Saber.
Yeah, so they can use the sabre in close combat. I just so classic seeing people fighting World War II with swords.
Which you tried to do then,
which failed.
Next time I had guns, you had swords.
Machine gun, mate, yeah. I use swords. Yeah, I use machine guns. Guess who wins?
The lucky guy.
Yeah. Japanese use the gunto sword, which is a +1 to close combat, so you get an extra combat dice. Yeah. Also bikes. For a mere 1 point per figure in all Japanese troops, you can buy a bicycle.
Oh yeah.
Meaning your Japanese soldiers move 12 inches or run at 24 inches. That's awesome.
Without a road?
Yeah.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
That is awesome. That is pretty cool. For the cost of 1 point, you know, it is worth spending your 15 points on bicycles to make your troops super bicycle people.
Look, everybody, we're losing over there. Yes, let's get our bikes.
Yeah, we don't have bicycle troops, so what we do, I don't know where the bicycles have gone up at the moment.
Yeah, but
we have some bicycles, and what we do, we just put the bike with the unit, and so you can see the bikes on the units on the bike. We've only got a handful of bikes. I think we've got 1 for each, haven't we? We've got five bikes.
We've got loads of bikes.
Have we? So we just put the 1 bicycle with the unit, and it just shows that the whole unit is on bikes. So we just buy loads of bicycle figures.
And they're cheap.
Yeah, 1 point.
So I'm fine with
that. So that is definitely worth it. The next special rule is night fighting. This isn't actually the bolt action rule book because they're aware of it. in the new night fighting book, PDF, you have rules for night fighting and you have flashbangs and stuff like that. When a unit fires, you can see it because it's firing muzzle flashes. Japanese units use muzzle suppressants on their machine guns, they use subsonic ammunition, smokeless powder, and that means that in night fighting you can't see the Japanese, and the weapons are designed to diffuse noise. So you can hear Japanese soldiers firing, you can't locate them with ear.
Like the snipers.
Yeah. So you hear a bang, it could come from anywhere.
Could be allies.
Yeah, you can't locate the sound by hearing a Japanese rifle fire. Interesting factoid time. Japanese soldiers used 7.7mm ammunition on everything. Everything inside. The Type 100 machine gun, the Type 98 machine gun, the MMG, the rifles, the pistols, everything uses 7.7mm ammunition. That's so, if the machine gun runs out of ammo, he just says to his mates, pass us some ammo, and he just gives him, everyone uses the same ammunition. So you never run out of bullets, technically. Very clever idea. And they're subsonic and smokeless, so useful. Not so much at the end of the war. By the end of the war, the Japanese were basically putting anything together, including stuff they'd stolen off the Allies. But early war, certainly the case. Anything else, or should we go on to actual unit itself?
Actual unit itself,
right. The unit itself. These are 15-man squads. All our Japanese troops are in their traditional, proper Japanese squad formation. So, an interesting point for the Japanese army in the rule book is you don't get inexperienced troops. All Japanese troops are regular. All Japanese can be upgraded to veteran. A 15-man squad will put you back 195 points. A veteran squad will put you back 238, making them very expensive. But they're fanatics. They don't run away. They automatically charge. They have the gunter and banzai charge. All that stuff.
I can see this right now, and this is full. You don't really get full. There's some gaps. But this time I can see the list on that, it's full.
Yeah, it's one of the few gaming cards that is actually, the entire card is full of, every single thing's full because there's so many rules.
It's good for me.
The standard rifle carried is the Asakara rifle. I keep saying Ariska. I don't know why I keep saying Ariska.
Ariska's British and American, isn't it?
No, Ariska is another country and I can't remember which country it is. No. Anyway, the Asakara is the standard rifle of the Japanese army, fires 7.7mm ammunition. The Type 100 machine gun is a submachine gun used by the Japanese army using 7.7mm ammunition. The Type 96 LMG, the famous machine gun. There were also another type version called the Type 100 light machine gun, which is the same thing with a different stock. That is also fires 7.76mm ammunition, so they're all the same. It gives you quite a decent amount of firepower. Now, I will just zoom the camera out a bit so you can probably see this a bit better. Right, a Japanese squad is organised in this way. What? You just went. Right. That is actually on paper. Bear in mind, this is on paper, not necessarily real life. Organisation of the Japanese army. Typically, you have one rifle team of 3 men and a light machine gun. You have another rifle team of 3 men and a light machine gun. The corporal should carry a SMG. In the real world, there weren't that many SMGs going around, so it was very unusual to actually get that many SMGs in a unit. So usually a section would not have 2 SMGs in it, but that's how it was designed. And you had your machine guns, 1 light machine gun per both fire teams. Then you had the officers' unit, which were made up of 4 rifles, one of them being theoretically being a radio operator, which was very unlikely. and an officer, which I haven't even bothered with the radio operator because there just weren't any.
If it was, then it probably costed more.
Yeah, well, no, because it doesn't count in bolt action, it's just on paper. Theoretically, the guy's got a telephone wire. Now, would you pass me a mortar? Imperial Japanese Army mortar, yeah.
But the nine mortars.
Don't care, just pass one. Now, what would happen is... Oops, sorry. Now, this is how the army was designed. So you've got 3 squads like that. This is actual a rifle section. And the reason it was designed this way was you had a massive amount of firepower of light machine guns. However, what the Japanese would do is every platoon, that's every 3 of these, would have 1 mortar platoon made up of 3 mortars. And what the Japanese would do is take this guy out and give them a mortar.
So you could choose.
Yep. And make this guy into a machine gun company, a machine gun section. So he's over there being part of a machine gun section with another 3 of his mates. And the actual infantry unit now has a mortar and a machine gun. And typically what would happen is, these guys would go over there, these guys would get in position to attack, like so, led by their officer. Right, and so these guys would charge forward in a bonsai charge, while these guys machine gun the enemy. So the enemy would put their heads down because of all the shots coming in, and while they were laid on the floor, these guys would fire their grenades onto the heads of onto the hiding guys hiding behind barrels and boxes and trees. These mortars would come down and blow them up, and so
they'll get bayoneted.
And then by the time, and because they were so close, this thing on a tiny range, because they were so close, they could actually keep fire up right up to the point where the Japanese troops had reached the trench, and so the fire would cease. The guys in the trench would suddenly look up and find a bayonet in their face as the Japanese troops attacked the trench. And that's basically 101 Japanese combat doctrine. That's it. That was how Japan conquered most of China and defeated the British Army. That's how they did it.
Yeah, and bear in mind, their bayonet is 2 inches long.
2 foot long. 2 feet long. Yeah.
Oh, 2 feet long. Yeah. I mean, that's straight for the chest and through the spine.
Yeah, that's pretty lethal. So that is how the Japanese were actually trained to operate. They usually also operated mainly at night. They preferred to fight at night because the British and the Chinese and the Americans, whoever they were fighting, would stupidly fire their guns, lighting themselves up and letting the Japanese know where they were.
And then they get bayoneted.
And then the Japanese would simply zero in on them and take them down. So, yeah, same as the Romans. The Romans preferred night fighting. Exactly the same reason.
Yeah, and the Celts and that didn't.
Yeah.
So we got beaten by the Romans.
The Celts believed you couldn't go to heaven if you died at night. So the Romans attacked them at night. This is as simple as Celts don't fight.
Run away, Celts, run away!
Not so brave now, are you? Yeah. So, yeah, there's an interesting factoid, in case you care anymore. Yeah. So, that is the organisation of the Japanese army, and that's why they're in 15-man squads. And according to the bolt action rules, though, you only get 1 machine gun per 15-man squad. Don't know why, probably because they didn't know that. But, I love bolt action. I think it's a brilliant game. And, I do have a few... I have collywobbles with it, with every single rule system.
I was alright with Hail Caesar, but we haven't been playing Hail Caesar for a while now.
No, because we're currently rebasing everything and it's taking its toll.
And I like bolt action better now. It's just better.
Oh, I think they're 2 really good games. It's just they're different games. And at the moment we haven't been concentrating on bolt action, but we will be getting back into Hail Caesar, and it's going to be even more impressive than it was before because we're doing some really cool stuff with it.
Yeah, you're talking about some stuff we're doing.
Yeah, we already told you about that. So yeah, that is the organisation of the average Japanese platoon. Section. Yeah, 3 of these in a company with a support unit made up of mortars, and then you have 2 or 3 sniper teams assigned to the HQ, who would all be led by a captain, and that's it. Usually the first lieutenant would lead the second squad. The first lieutenant would lead the third squad, and the captain would lead the first squad, because the first squad was the elite squad, and the captain would lead that.
Because the captain has to be safe as possible.
The captain has, well, yeah, it's down to honour and stuff. In the British Army, you had much the same sort of organisation. The first officer wouldn't usually lead the first squad. It was usually the captain that led the first squad.
I believe the first time we did with captains and majors in was the Polish Army.
Yeah, because usually we only have one officer, but the Polish Army actually has the full command staff. I'm only missing a major. I'm missing a major. I've got the first and second lieutenants, and the captain, and not a major. The Japanese Army, I think we've got them all, haven't we?
Yep, yeah. Come on, right back. We're doing them last.
Yeah,
it won't be on last for them.
Yeah, it won't be on last for you, but we're not doing that video today anyway, put it that way.
No, we're very busy today.
Yeah. So that's it. That's the Japanese Navy. The Japanese Army as a whole. Now, Japan had both Army and Navy troops. They had two armies. They had the Army and the Navy, and they were two completely separate organisations. These guys are the standard Army troops. However, you can also use them for Navy, because the Navy troops later on in the war, about 42, began to wear the Japanese khaki. Interestingly enough, roughly the same time in China, the Japanese started to change their uniform to the green. So it's a bit swings and roundabouts. So yeah, do we ever get anything else to add to that?
Not much.
Nothing at all. I'll just move him out of the way. Oh no, sorry, he shouldn't even be in it. No.
Yeah,
there we go. Yeah, that's it. That's how it should theoretically look.
The guy in Moss should be in a completely different place.
And you have three of these guys are actually part of another squad. So what we first did was actually buy a mortar team and add it to the unit as an additional section, as an additional squad. Now we actually we buy the whole squads as a squad, and then we buy a mortar team and then mix them up to be historically accurate. If anyone cares about being historically accurate, and most people don't. And I also find that using the Japanese as Japanese, as they historically worked, they actually work a lot better, and you tend to win battles better. So I just found that out by losing against them.
So, tactics.
Tactics-wise, well, I haven't used the Japanese that much, so you're the Japanese player mainly. I would just use Japanese infantry. Keep the enemy pinned with fire if you can. Try and send in your tanks to draw fire, and then bonsai charge the infantry. That's about it.
No, just bonsai charge.
You see, the Japanese lack heavy support. They need to get to grips with the enemy, because you do lack heavy support. Yeah, which is great fighting the Chinese, because they don't have any support either, so you're on equal terms. And your troops are marginally better. If you're fighting the British, they have massive amounts of artillery. They get a free artillery barrage. At the beginning of the game, they get a free artillery barrage. I mean, God, imagine going up against the British, all that artillery coming down.
This is floor one.
Well, the Japanese then used the British artillery. You fired the wrong smoke. Talking about smoke, the Japanese officer, this chap here, all Japanese officers were equipped with 3 smoke canisters and a smoke canister firing pistol, which was actually a Colt. Because for some reason the Nambu wouldn't fire it, but they did later on make a thing on the barrel of the Nambu so you could fire smoke canisters. And aeroplanes that were flying overhead were told to target in on, was it green smoke, blue smoke, whichever one. Sorry, there's so many different arms we've been doing recently, I've lost count. Certain coloured smoke, and so the Japanese officer would fire a smoke canister into a building that we were fighting against, and any Japanese plane that was flying overhead would target and bomb that building. Because you've seen Bridge Too Far when he says start the purple, and the British fire the purple smoke, and so the planes come in and bomb. That's because there's no dude on the radio to the planes, because that's only on films. Right? There's no radio communication at all between planes. Yeah. Next one, that's it. Your tactic.
I'll tell you my tactic. Bonsai charge.
Just bonsai charge, everything. Yeah. So, okay, fine.
That's only against Chinese though.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I've never used tanks on versus infantry in when we do Japanese versus Chinese. I always use bonsai charge, and I've never lost.
Yeah.
Because when you do bonsai charge, you have a crazy amount of combat against the enemy. Crazy amount.
Yeah, and even if you lose combat, you get to go again.
Yeah.
You can actually win because you still get the Dow special rule, so you still get an extra reroll. You still get an extra roll, and plus, yeah.
And if there's a tank which only has one machine gun at the front, and it's already done, if it's already done its move, and you're within a move distance with it, once I charge that, and you've got tag grenades, they're screwed.
Well, yeah. I'll also mention with that, these guys are normal Japanese infantry. Guards units used to all carry. Every single soldier carried a sword. So every single soldier actually carried a sword as well. So they were actually trained in close combat with swords. And so what they would do, they would ditch their rifle and go in with a sword during bonsai charges. So that could be pretty horrific and very interesting when you fight certain Chinese units who also use swords.
Will that be a +1?
That would make the entire unit into tough fighters, which is why guards units are classed as tough fighters.
But they're already tough fighters because they've got an
Yeah, because but when the guards units are tough fighters. So.
I remember we did that one part where my officer was against your officer, and my officer completely slaughtered your officer.
That was good. Yeah, it was quite fun because we were both fanatics.
Yeah.
And so we came down basically to the officer. That's all we had left, and so we were just two officers fighting with samurai swords.
Yeah,
they had a Dao, and you had a samurai sword.
Unfortunately, the squad was dead, so useless.
We both lost. We just wanted to find out which officer was stood over the bodies at the end.
Mine stood over the bodies in the end, but pretty useless anyway. We still lost.
Yeah. So that's it. That's really all we've got to do on this video. We've done tactics. We've done the history of them and
special.
Everything. We've done the special stuff first.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
actually,
this is first.
I did
points. We've done everything. There's no point to this anymore.
No.
Yeah. Although I will mention the guards with the tough fighters thing. That imagine if you had an entire guards unit like you're fighting the Malaya campaign. And you had all the guards troops against stuff like your British and the Indians. That would give you basically 30 dice in combat as standard.
Yeah, bye trench.
Yeah. So there's no way your troops are going to stand a bonsai charge. Best thing to do is just lay as much fire on them as possible. Because actually, pins won't count.
Exactly, because they don't have to roll them around.
In that case, I surrender. That's it.
Discharge!
So that's it. That's the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you're enjoying these videos. We certainly are.
That's my favourite one.
I know we're doing a lot of these videos at the moment, but people asking us to do them, and now we're doing them. We've got the Hail Caesar ones to do this sort of thing with Hail Caesar and this sort of thing with Antares, all coming up. Yeah. And eventually, when we get around to doing it, we've got our Dark Ages Vikings, and we've got so much stuff.
But it's going to feel dodgy that when we do the Hail Caesar, it's not guns anymore. There's no guns involved.
No, it's all samurai swords and stuff. Yeah. Gladius and Right, so that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Over to you for the outro.
So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and comment down below what would you like to see next.
Yep.
And if you think bonsai charge is really good.
It's goodbye from him.
Goodbye from me.
And goodbye from him.
You're sorry, please stop.
Sorry.